Hello and welcome to Let's Play Planet Coaster Globe Explorer Episode 2 here on Theme Park Worldwide. Going straight in then with this episode and starting work on the entrance plaza to the theme park itself. Now, as I mentioned in episode 1, it is going to be much more than just a park. It's going to be a full-on resort. You saw in episode 1 with the car parks, starting to put in some of the infrastructure for that, the different lakes or the waterways that are going to make up this resort. But yes, this what we're focusing on in this episode is the entrance area, the hub, so to speak, of this resort, where the monorail will exit guests. Along with that as well, all the paths will sort of lead to there from the hotels, the car parks, to this main hub area that'll be the entrance to the theme park. But yes, along with building that in this episode, I'm going to be sharing a bit of information more about the park as well. I know there was quite a lot of questions in the comments down below on the episode last week, so I'm going to sort of go through a lot of your questions and answer all of those and give you some more hints and clues as to what you can expect from the series, along with sharing some more of my plans as well. But not just about the park itself, but also about the computer that I actually play Planet Coaster on. I know a lot of people are quite interested in knowing like what PC I play the game on, and also the specs as well, so I'm going to be talking through them in this episode. But yes, I did sort of leave you at the end with a little bit of a cliffhanger saying, oh, what is the first country going to be at this park, the old entrance area? And you might be able to already work it out with the building style just here. I'm going for a bit of an old school England style feel for the entrance. I'm not sort of talking like medieval, but just some of the older buildings, like when you walk around London and stuff, you know, you see some really nice architecture, but some of the older buildings, like with the wooden panels on and things, that's kind of what we're going for. So it's not going to be like full-on medieval, but we're going to be looking at some like wooden buildings and some nice sort of details on there that all sort of complement that. Kind of like what you can see here with what is actually going to be a ticket booth, where you'll be able to buy tickets and information to go into the theme park. But yeah, that's my plan. So it's going to be the United Kingdom, the whole entrance area, and as we work forward with this, it is going to feature a few different attractions as well. Of course, you already know it's going to have the train as the first attraction. You're going to walk underneath the monorail that's part of the plaza, and then you'll walk into the park and see your first attraction at the end, which will be the train. That'll have various different stations in other countries throughout the Globe Explorer Park, and then along with that as well, there's going to be probably 3 other rides, all part of this area, and it is all going to be located on this island here as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to putting that together, and that's probably going to span over the next few episodes, with this episode working here on the actual plaza itself, and these buildings that I'm started on now, and then in the next episode we'll move on to like the entrance street that is sort of going to span behind where I'm working now, actually just past the monorail. So yeah, what I'm sort of working on here, I want it to be very sort of clean and fresh sort of feel to it, hence why using like a lot of the white colour scheme throughout this, but also putting on some like darker colours as well, sort of on top, sort of like a white base for some of the buildings, and then adding some browns and like black roofs and things on there, just sort of going through, you know, to make it look a bit like old school England, you know, but like I say, not too down the medieval route. I think that might come a little bit later, because I really want to put a castle, and when I say castle, I'm not talking like a big Disney, you know, fantasy style castle. I actually want to put like a real like style castle in this area, you know, that's the plan with this one. Obviously, when I say real, it's still been built for the theme park. It's not a genuine like ruins, for example, like Alton Towers, but I want to go with that style, you know, something that could look like a castle that's been there like in Scotland for like hundreds of years or something. That's the sort of style that I want to go for, and I'd like to sort of implement a roller coaster with that. So I'd like you to get your suggestions in down below for some different comments on that. Now, a lot of people sort of commented on the episodes, you know, saying, oh, you know, it sounds fantastic. You know, are you going to be sort of recreating famous landmarks and sites from some of these different countries? And the answer to that is no. I'm going to be going down a bit of a different route with this. I mean, this is a United Kingdom entrance area, and the whole first area of the park will be based around the UK. But yeah, like that doesn't mean that there's going to be like the London Eye as a Ferris wheel. and the House of Parliament and everything. That isn't the style I'm going for at all. In fact, I'm trying to avoid going down that route. I don't want to sort of be an exact copy of like Epcot, that does that with some areas. And for example, like you've got the Italian pavilion, haven't you? With like all the like the Venice section and stuff that do, it does look very similar with it having like the big clock tower and stuff. I'm not going down that route with this. What I want to kind of do is put my own unique rides and storylines into these different areas based around the world. Hey, there we go. We've got the United Kingdom flag up there at the top. Lots of different flags for all the different countries that are going to be used throughout the areas, and it'll have a really nice sort of celebration of these different countries sort of feel to it. So that's a bit of a basis. I mean, say like with this castle, what I'm 99% sure I'm going to be building in the next few episodes, because I really want it, probably on the right hand side of this entrance area, sort of behind the main street, and you'll sort of come down it and head off to the right to access the attraction I'm hoping to be a roller coaster, and get your suggestions in for it. So yeah, that's the plan. I want that to have like a unique storyline. It's not going to be like based around like some of London's sort of past or anything. I'm thinking, let's go completely different and come up with some unique stories and themes, but that also relate to that country as well. So hopefully you kind of understand a bit more what it's all going to be about with this one. In terms of how the entrance is coming on here, quite pleased with it actually so far. It's very big, it's very grand. It's going in a little bit different to some of the entrances what I've done in the past couple of series, because they've been a lot smaller. Obviously with the indoor park, that was didn't really have a proper entrance. It was just like a little canopy at the front. I wanted the impact to be when you walked into it and you think, wow, look at the scale of it. Obviously when I did the amusement park, that was a few different entrances all along like a seafront. When I did the studios park, that again, it wasn't a massive entrance. It was quite grand with the archways and stuff, but it wasn't the biggest of entrances. And then of course you go back to my first part that I did, Volcano Springs. Now that was a huge entrance because there was actually a hotel as part of it. I did think of maybe doing that again, a different style hotel. Obviously that was like fantasy themed to fit with the park. Obviously that wouldn't work here where we're going more for realism of different countries. But I did think of putting a hotel on the entrance, and then I thought, no, I've already done that. Let's do something a bit different. Plus I've got plenty of land opposite this entrance to build hotels. I'm thinking maybe 3 to 5 hotels, depending on A, how much the game can cope, and B, sort of space, and making, I don't want it to look too cramped. I want to put a lot of like gardens, and that's going to be a big part of this British area now. It's the gardens, and you can see here the first of many different hedges going in. I do like how these are designed in the game actually, like you can tell they've just sort of maybe took a picture of some real ones and like slapped them on the top. They look very realistic. I do like these. Very nicely cut hedges. I know Paulton's Park are famous for their hedges. If you've never seen them, check out the vlogs. I'm sure I've mentioned them every time I go there. But yeah, Paulton's Park have got some beautiful hedges, what they just cut all the time. Like they never look overgrown or out of place. There's never like a random branch just sticking out. They always look really good. So that's the plan with these. It's all going to look nicely maintained, and a real nice celebration of the United Kingdom with this entrance, and some flower beds, lots of different paths to walk through, and so much more. Now you'll notice with this here as well that I've not actually built the entrance plaza sort of right on the edge of the land. There is a little bit of space around like for different paths and things. Now as I mentioned in the last episode, there is going to be an entertainment and shopping district, and I'm actually going to start work on that in the next few minutes as part of the entrance area. So you're actually going to step over the water, over the 2 different bridges on either side, and it'll bring you into the area before you've actually gone into the theme park. So you'll know that straight away, oh okay, we're in the British area. There's going to be a pub, there's going to be a different like cafe, and also as well you're going to have your monorail station. So there's quite a few different facilities that are actually going to be part of the village style area. Your downtown Disney, your Universal City Walk. That's all going to fit as part of this area. So yeah, we're going to build a couple of restaurants and stuff shortly in this episode that'll all make up part of the entrance buildings. So yeah, it's coming together quite nicely. Like I say, it's very grand. It's got a bit of a medieval feel to it, but very sort of, I'm kind of basing it off Shakespeare's Globe a little bit in London, because I really like the design of that, and the fact it's got mostly white walls with brown things on top, such as the wooden panels that they've got all the way down the side. They have got thatched roofs. I don't plan on adding those into this, but that sort of idea in terms of how they look with the whitewash and the things on top. So that's the plan. But I'm liking it so far, how it's coming together, and as always I appreciate all your feedback in the comments. So here we go. I'm starting work now on what will be the White Hart Pub, which will be a British style pub as part of the entertainment complex. So likewise, this isn't actually in the park, this is on the outside, and you can see where the entrance to the park itself is going to be. It'll be underneath the monorail tracks now in that very grand building with the towers on the front, and that'll lead into a main street with various different shops. Gonna have like a sweet shop, another restaurant, a main gift shop, and different facilities and things in there as well, and that'll be coming in the next episode. But yeah, the White Hart that I'm starting work on here, a bit of a different style in terms of the colours we're going for here, a bit more modern than some of the buildings that I've just put in, using like the dark brown, light orange sort of coloured bricks for this. A lot of houses here in the UK are that sort of colour, using those bricks, so I thought that'd be quite fitting. Also, a lot of different pubs and things as well tend to have that sort of feel to them. Still putting some like wood on top as well, you can see there, just to overall like give it the feel. But yeah, this would be a very British food, open after the park shuts on an evening, sort of thing, so people can enjoy it and just come around here and soak up the ambience really. Going to put a nice outdoor seating area in shortly as well, so you'll see that. But yeah, first bit of landscaping going in here as well in terms of the trees. There's going to be a lot of areas around this park. I really want to split things off, a bit like I did with Volcano Springs, but even more so, really split these areas off. So sometimes it'll be a bit like Alton Towers, there'll be a large gap of not a lot really, you're just walking through, just soaking up the ambience, and you might just have a bit of music playing, nicely like landscaped, but not anything in terms of attractions or necessarily even shops, I do want some like blank areas and things to be quite spread out, and Walt Disney World is like that, isn't it? For anybody who's been over to Walt Disney World, and as you're watching this, me and Charlotte are actually there at the moment in Florida, but yeah, with Walt Disney World it is very spread out, isn't it? And that's due to many different reasons, partially because of the land that it was originally built on, being like all swamp land, another reason as well, because they had so much land they wanted to spread things out, so you sort of different resort areas as they built more hotels, and it's connected by different transport. The Skyliner, that's sort of opening this year in a few weeks. It's all very exciting stuff at Walt Disney World. There's a lot going on, but yeah, going back to things being spread out, that's kind of what I'm going for here. Obviously it's only the one theme park with this, but yeah, it will be some quite spread out areas. Just done a bit of interior work there on the White Hart, and as you can see here out the front, we've got some nice railings on there, the various different pub benches, you've got like the Hart topiaries as well, the clock there on the clock tower, it's just got a nice feel to it, hasn't it? I do like it. With the umbrellas that are out the front, they're probably not going to be out much, are they, especially with it being a British area, and this park, it is going to be based as a UK park as well, so that's the thing with this one, hence why I wanted it to be a United Kingdom inspired entrance. Yeah, this is a British park, it is based for being over here. Some of my other projects that I've done before were certainly for warmer climates, whereas with this it is being designed with the British sort of climate in mind, but nonetheless it must be summertime at the moment. All the umbrellas are still out at the front, but as we do seasonal events, like when it comes around to Halloween or Christmas for example, we can take the umbrellas down, and make it realistic, all part of it. But yeah, this looks quite nice in terms of the building. I'm not putting sort of too many heavy details on this for now. I think a lot of it will be changed seasonally with this building in particular. I want to make sure at Christmas, you'll put like all your wreaths and decor and things on it. And maybe, you could put bunting on it as well. I might do that in the future, bunting, festoon lights maybe. That's the thing with this, as much as the Plaza is going to be nearly complete by the end of this episode, I can still come back to it at any point point and add different details in. And here's some more bits going on now in terms of lighting, all them different hanging baskets on the front. And I sort of think they look like pub lights, what I've just put actually inside. If you've been in like a pub here in the UK, you have got them style lights. I mean, in some of the older pubs, you know, I'm not talking like your newer, more modern places, you know. But yeah, like some of your older pubs have got like them old lights, you know, with like the little fabric coverings on the side. That's kind of what I wanted to go for. But anyway, I'll be back in just a couple of minutes, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the computer that I actually played Planet Coaster on. Some more topiaries going in there in the gardens area, and I hope you're starting to get an idea now for the feel of this and how it's going to look once it's complete, and just the overall finish for it really. And that's why I zoom out quite a lot in my projects. I have spoke about this before, but I do like just zooming out, just having a look at it from a distance and then going down to guest level and seeing how it looks from there, and all different angles, you know, just so you can know how it looks really. And it's like with this, I started putting this building in, for example, and thought, oh, it looks a bit too similar with having the entrance to the building on the left and right side to the White Hart on the other side of the entrance plaza. So I thought, no, I'm going to do this different and put the steps in the middle just to make it a bit different. We're using a different style of brick on here as well, because you don't want things to look too samey, especially when I'm going to be using quite a lot of the whitewash walls down the actual entrance street itself. A lot of the entrance street is going to follow on from how the plaza looks, and then these two buildings at the side are different coloured bricks on there. So, but yeah, this is going to be another restaurant, and this is going to be more of a cafe style. You know, maybe instead of it being like a table service thing like the pub, you'd sort of just go up there like a buffet and pick out what you want. But yeah, this would be the Lakeview Cafe, because it looks over towards one of the lakes and all the waterways as well, that are going to form part of the infrastructure here at the resort. But yes, moving away from the park just for a moment, let's just talk about the computer that I actually played Planet Coaster on. Now, of course, during some of my projects, you know, you do start to notice a little bit of lagging, and that is, of course, because of the computer, you know, and this is a very intense game when it comes to graphics cards and memory and all that sort of stuff. You know, you do need a good computer to be able to run Planet Coaster well. I've played it on a few different PCs of my friends, you know, and they do struggle with it. You know, it all depends on how much you're putting in and the different details that you go into. You know, the more items that are being placed in it, you've got to think the more it's going to struggle. And when you run it at nighttime mode, for example, firework displays, all the lighting, rides running around, it can be quite intense. So we have seen it before. I mean, with my original part, Volcano Springs, it just couldn't cope anymore. I've had a couple of PC upgrades since then, you know, so it has been a bit better, and obviously the parks haven't been as big, but I am expecting expecting to run into some issues with like the FPS and stuff with this. So what of course you can do is optimize the settings and turn down the quality a little bit, which is what I will do as we move forward with this, just so, I mean, you won't really notice so much on the recordings here because the quality already isn't as good as what it actually is when you're playing the game because of the software that's recording it. So you won't really get to notice a difference. However, I will of course playing it, but I'd rather lose a bit of the quality from some of the colours and things, instead of actually having more lag and starting to freeze and that sort of stuff. But so actually what I run this game on my actual computer, of course the game, you can purchase it through Steam. It is only available on PCs at the moment. I know a lot of people were saying, oh, they should bring it out on Xbox or PlayStations and things. It's a very, very high graphics intense game, and it looks like Planet Zoo is going to be even more so. I mean, that comes out in the beta, doesn't it, this week? I'm not going to be playing it because I'm away, but I'm looking forward to seeing how that runs as well. I think it's going to be interesting. But yeah, let's just give you a couple of facts about the actual PC. So Martin from the vlogs, he actually built my PC for me. He's built various different computers in the past, and he built it for me, which was very kind of him. It's got an AMD FX 8300 8-core processor in there. I'll let you just process that for a minute. So an AMD FX 8300 8-core processor that I've got in the PC, and then I've got a Radeon RX 460 graphics card running this as well. So there's a bit of some stats for you about the actual computer that I'm running it on as well. So there's 16 gig of memory in the PC. Obviously that can change. You can just sort of slot more in if you want to and take them out and things. But that's what I'm running it on at the moment. Obviously things are always subject to change. Like I said, I've had a couple of changes since I first had the game, but yeah, it seems to run relatively well. I mean, I don't really start to get any FPS issues and stuff. I've started to put quite a few things in, especially when you're doing a lot of heavy theming and details. But I know a lot of you've commented saying, oh, what are you running it on? There you go, now you know. Back to the park just here. Hashtag rock work. It's back, everybody. So not loads of rocks going to be going in, especially with this area. I mean, here in the UK, we're not particularly famous for loads of like rocks everywhere and stuff. We don't really have that. But don't get me wrong, they work nice as landscaping, like gardens, don't they? Like landscape gardens. That's kind of what we're going for here. Lots of different plants going in. You'll notice a bit of red, white, and blue going on as well. Some purples in there, and then just your generic sort of green plants and just space fillers, I call them. I don't really like empty space, as you can see with my areas I've done before, and especially with this, it's very full. But I'll be coming back to it and doing a few more enhancements at some point in the future. But yeah, this is the last building, so to speak, that will be part of the entrance Plaza area and this whole British entrance. I mean, I think it looks nice. Again, I really appreciate your feedback. I'll be coming back and doing more details. I've got to think about more lighting, signage, bins, seating. I can come back and sort of add that in a little bit later, along with actually putting in the units themselves, like the information booth, the toilets. I'll come back and do that. I just would like to put the initial infrastructure in and then the buildings, and you start to get a feel for it, because you got to think, I mean, you're looking at about 4 hours worth of work in this episode, maybe just a little bit over that actually, maybe about 4.5 hours that has been put down into 25 minutes. So you've got to think about how much time things do take, but you've also, I build things and then sometimes I'll look at it and think, actually, that isn't right, and I've just not got the feel for it, so I'll delete it or delete parts of it and make changes. And you'll notice that sometimes, no one's perfect at this game. Like, anybody who says there is are lying. I mean, no one's perfect. Everybody has little bits that they want to change from time to time, and sometimes you might open the game after not playing it for a week or so and think, oh god, did I really place that there? And these things happen. People do comment on the videos and say, Sean, how do you do it? What are your tips for Planet Coaster? You've just got to be consistent. You've really got to have a lot of patience to it. I know so many people will just plonk rides down and coasters and not really think about anything. But yeah, these things do happen. Talking of problems. Here we go. Here's one for you. So you see, I've just put all the like them different like struts in for the roof. They don't line up with what I've just put underneath, so I actually had to go back and change all the wooden panels in a moment just so they all line up, because you can see they're all slightly off. So I learned my lesson there. I should have put those in first before doing the smaller details underneath, but you know, these things happen. So you see how they're all just out of line a little bit from the wooden panels underneath. So yeah, I do change that, you know, so there you go, like now they're fixed. So yeah, it's like little things, isn't it, you learn. But yeah, the best thing to do is be consistent, have the time for it, really think about what you're placing and what's going into your areas. Most importantly, keep it interesting and be different. I don't really have a good time when it comes to recreating stuff, and that's another reason why I didn't want to sort of do like your House of Parliament and all that sort of stuff in this. You know, I want to do different sort of things, but all based on that country. You know, so let's be a bit different, especially when it comes to the names for rides and areas and ideas. That's what we're going to go for with this. And on that note, we're nearly at the end of episode 2. But there we go. I hope you've enjoyed it. Like I say, if you haven't already, check out episode 1 where I sort of initially launched the project, put in a bit of infrastructure, and then of course come back in the next episode next week, where we're going to continue working on the entrance, but this time down the actual main street that will lead down into the park. Here's a few screenshots of nice overview just there. The beauty of this entrance as well is that it's been designed that you're going to see all the big coasters and rides through the different gaps in the buildings just there, and you're going to see them emerge over in the distance, which I think will be fantastic. But there we go. Thank you very much for joining me, Sean Sandbrook, here on Theme Park Worldwide for episode 2 of Globe Explorer, and I'll be back next week with another episode here on our YouTube channel. That means it's time to cue those credits. See you next week.